Alright, it's Saturday. The Silverado got some new sneakers. They're a little more aggressive than they looked in the picture, but I mean, I like the look of them. I just don't know how they're gonna wear. Bought these off Tire Rack. So by the online picture they didn't look that mean, but oh boy. Anyway, we're gonna take care of a couple problems today. Nothing major today. I've been kind of busy the last 2 weeks, in case you're wondering why I ain't posted no videos. But we're gonna take care of, can't see it, but my rear diff's leaking. It's leaking pretty good. Noticed that the other day. Put a couple quarts in it. Gonna figure while we're at it, we'll change the front diff fluid. I'll show you where to pull stuff out of that, where the bolts are and whatnot. And I got my new rear end cover. It's gonna go on. And a whole bunch of oil. According to the book, it says the rear takes 3 quarts of synthetic, which I talked to the parts store guy and I said, you sure it's synthetic? Because it is a limited slip rear end. I says, it might just need the limited slip. He says, nope, 75/90 synthetic. I says, okay. So that's what we got. And surprisingly, the Valvoline at my local Napa was cheaper than the Napa brand at Napa. I don't know how that is. I think your own generic store brand would be the cheapest. I mean, I use all their oil and stuff, and I got a little bit of this stuff just to help make sure it don't leak anymore. The reason I'm replacing the cover is because I think it might just be rusted bad enough that it's perforated, so to speak. So I went and got me a new diff cover. Oh, that was my finger. And we'll start by putting all that on. Then I'm going to put on my headers, which I painted over there. Those are generic Summit Racing ones. My old ones is cracked. They did make it, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years. The old ones did. I think they're 3 or 4 years. They're just as expensive as the manifolds that were on it, but the manifolds used to do that popping and cracking thing. Yeah, that figures. You think they'd include the gasket with it, you know? But that's alright, we're just going to make our own gasket. I thought that was a plug. Here it's a magnet. Only the best. Alright, here we go. I love working on vehicles in Pennsylvania in the wintertime. You get to lay in all this water, salty water. But anyway, and everything falls out of your pockets. Anyway, there's the diff. As you can see, of all the moisture here, I think it's leaking. I think that either the bottom of this thing's mangled up to the point, because I've resealed this once before about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost. Wow, that's a long time. But anyway, it didn't seem to cure the problem. It might have slowed it down a little bit. So I'll put another cover on. I'm not going to change the axle, put another cover on. But these are 13mm bolts, and you're going to want to take probably from here on this side and there on that side, take them all out, the whole way around, and then buzz the other top 3 loose and leave them in just a little bit, so that whenever you crack this thing open, it all doesn't just fall into the pan, your drip pan and all. Okay, 13mm bolts, here we go. So now we got all of the bottom bolts out, boom, 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 boom. I got these top three. They're only in by like a thread or so. So we're going to take either a chisel or, in my case, a nice Craftsman screwdriver. We're jamming in the side with we got our drip pan underneath it. And we're just going to go like this and spill some of it on the floor. There's all the fluid. All the fluid. All the fluid. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, there is a drain plug on this differential, but seeing as how I already had a leak, it just made sense just to go ahead and pop the rear cover off. There is a plug located up towards the snout. I'll show you that in a little bit when we film me putting the fluid back in, but this is pretty much it. And I forgot to put my gloves on. Oh, one other thing. A half inch socket is pretty dang close too. I'm not sure if it's 13 millimeters or a half. Cutlam came out with 13 millimeters, no problem. And these three up here were a little bit more tight, and it seemed to be rounding a little bit. So I jammed a half-inch socket on there, 3/8 half-inch drive, and it popped right off. So there you have it. Moving on. We take this cover off and prep the surface for the new one. Alright, good news. Our gear teeth look pretty good. And so do our pinion teeth. I rotate around, took a look at all the teeth on everything, and I don't really see any undue wear. Where I work, I actually inspect gears time to time for a living. That in the bottom, if you see something like that, don't be too alarmed. That is actually a magnet. It is meant to catch metal shavings, and you will have them from time to time. I don't feel that based off of looking at these teeth that that's an absorbent amount. But you're looking for any signs, oops, sorry, back of the light, any signs of any pitting or cracking. Rotate your gear around. I just stuck a screwdriver in. What did I do with my screwdriver? But anyways, I stick my screwdriver in and I just kind of pry one tooth at a time and get it rotating. The other big thing to show you is, if I get my light focus, oh, there you go, those numbers. And especially these last two, that 950, there's a 9.5 inch ring gear. And let's see if I can get it in. Oh, there it is. 11 times 41, which I will double check and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that makes this a 411 ring and pinion gear. So if you ever need to swap gears, you will. But now I'm going to focus in on, I'm going to take that magnet out, I'm going to clean it. If I, oop, dang it. I need to invest in some lighting. But anyways, pull that magnet out of there. I can't get it with my fingers. Clean all this gasket off, buff this whole surface up, get it all nice and pretty, and then we're gonna RTV and gasket make me a new gasket. Yay! Alright, back to it. So it's always good to crawl underneath your vehicle every once in a while and take a look around, because you never know what you might find. For example, I wonder how long I would have drove around before I ever needed my spare tire. Yeah, the whole stupid thing's missing. I just realized that. And if you look at the cable, yeah, it wasn't stolen, nobody cut it off, that cable just broke. And my spare tire's gone. Somewhere. Oh boy. Alright, well, back to this. So what I've done is I've buffed the entire gasket surface. And then, let's turn the light this way. And then I cleaned it with brake clean. It's not perfectly clean. I'll wipe it down a little bit more. That's just oil still coming out, but it's pretty good. I think it'll work. Alright, let's get the cover prepped. So, here's something, a little tip, that I think everybody should do Can't tell if it's focused or not. But read the directions on your loop or sealants before you actually use them. For example, this one says to apply to your part, blah 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 blah. Assemble parts immediately, finger tighten bolts to bring material squeeze out around the flanges, then allow 1 hour to dry before tightening. 24 hours before filling with fluids. So, don't hurry up, spread a bunch of goop on, slam it together, rack it tight, and then expect it not to leak on you. Note to everybody out there. Okay, I'm gonna spread some goop on this and even it out a little bit, and we'll throw her on there and do just like they said. We'll finger tighten them, squeeze it together first, and then we'll count down an hour, and then we'll torque it, and then we'll wait another, well, probably till tomorrow, I guess. Supposed to get a snowstorm. We'll see if we can, because I might have to get that out. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, out. Alright, I've gooped it all up. Now, I really suck at putting silicone or anything down. I'll just admit that. I'm horrible at it. But there's a trick that if you invest in some gloves, or just don't mind having dirty hands, once you're done, just take your finger and use your other hand to hold it. But anyways, you kind of smear it around a little bit and get yourself a nice even coat. A lot of guys will just throw, like, scooge it on there and then throw their parts together real quick without taking the time to do this. And the problem with that is if you got any gaps whatsoever, like where your bead just maybe didn't form, like right there, let's wait, like right there or right there, that's a potential for somewhere for fluid to get through if it doesn't squish together right. So I'm gonna use both hands now and smear this all on, and next time you see it, it should be on the rear end. Alright, it's on there. We got a nice amount of squish out, and as per the directions, these bolts are all only hand tight. Boom, 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 boom. I'm probably not going to show torquing them, simply because, well, there's not much to it. Just go around and torque them. But one thing I will add, whenever I do torque them, I'm going to start here and out and just work my way up, because I want my best seal at the bottom. There's always going to be fluid from about here down. Up here, you know, it'll spray, but if it falls, it's going to fall down and rest here. So you're going to want your best seal from here down. So getting these bolts and this, I don't know, gasket material squished the best through there is, I think, what we need. And yeah, we're gonna let that stand up for an hour as per the directions. We'll fill her tomorrow. We'll move on to the front end right now, and I'll show you where the drain plugs are for that. Alright, we're under the front end of my truck, but there's your front diff. Focus, focus. And there's your drain and fill plugs. Now the only problem with this style is, first off, there's no real way to inspect the gears inside, so we're going to bypass all that. The only way to do that is to take the front axle out, and then you have to split the case, which again, I'm not going to do. Too much work, not enough gain. There's not a whole lot of wear that goes on up here anyway. This thing's only driven when it's in four-wheel drive. Other than that, it just kind of sits there. And the other problem you'll have is probably getting the fluid into that plug. It's kind of tough to show, but there's not a whole lot of, like, you're not going to be able to put a bottle up to it and tip it up, because there's the frame and this steering linkage and all that in the way, so I'll probably have to thread a hose up over that sway bar and then down in, and then I'll be able to fill it from the wheel well on this side, the bottle over there. I probably won't be able to show you that exactly because I will need hands. But that's a 13 millimeter. We'll pop her out, drain it out, put it back in, pop that one out, put a hose in it, put 2 quarts in it. So I think the book says 1.9 something. We're just gonna jam 2 in it because why not? All right. You sure I can have your face in there?
Yes, you can.
Okay. There she is. This is the weenie head.
Really?
My personal concierge assistant. Well, not concierge. My personal assistant.
I'm just his daughter who was forced to be here.
All right. My daughter who's forced to be here. But anyways, we got the bottle connected to the hose that goes into... I'm trying to get over here. I'm getting old. Into the differential like such. I have the cap on now, but you can see how we fill it through the wheel well with the help of a lovely hand model. Okay, but we squeezed 2 quarts into it. Now you can remove that.
Okay.
And then we'll put the plug back in like such. And that is the front end D-U-N-N, or done.
Yay!
That's how you spell done in Pennsylvania.
Yes, it is. In Pennsylvania.
D-U-N-N.
Did you just say 2 N's?
Yep. D-U-N-N. Done.
D-O-N-E.
Shh.
Done.
This isn't that kind of educational channel.
I don't care.
But anyway, I'm going to go back to fixing other stuff, and then tomorrow we'll fill the rear end.
Yeah.
Well, snowpocalypse has struck. I just spent the most part of the morning on that sucker, fixing this sucker that broke again. Just quick, what it ended up being, the winch quit working, and what it ended up being is there's a couple body fuses in the back, and they weren't blown, but they weren't making good contact anymore because the push connectors had kind of wore out. So I jammed some wiring in there. But this is how bad snowpocalypse was. Snowpocalypse Pennsylvania 2019. Everything's frozen over. I mean, it snowed for a couple hours, and then it turned to freezing rain. So when I had to change out my exhaust headers. I didn't film that because, well, not that talented yet. Just trust me, it sucked. And there was a lot of adjectives involved. There, I'll even show them to you. Right there, this is the driver's side header. You can see the crack right there where it's blown out. It's yeah, I can't get a good shot in there, but it's actually a lot more visible on the inside. And then the real bad one was the passenger side one. Yeah, right there. There, going all the way down into there. The whole center's blown out of both of them. So I got new ones on. By the way, it's been basically 24 hours. I know it says temperature related, but what I'm going to do is let this thing thaw out. So, because, well, let's put it this way. I don't want to, I'd like to have I don't want to scrape my windshield. And I got a heated garage. Let the garage come up to temperature. I parked the wife's car in here last night, and that got me twofold. Number one, I didn't have to scrape it off this morning when I pulled it back out to pull this thing in. And number two, it was out of the way while I plowed. I parked my four-wheel drives way up on top of the hill, basically in the snowbank, and facing downhill so they could get a run down the garage. But her car doesn't go anywhere whenever it packs around the tire, so just go ahead and park that one inside. And plus, with her car inside, I can get the four-wheeler past without her car being in the way. But it's almost 11 o'clock, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the house, I'm going to eat lunch. About an hour or so we'll come back out here and fill them pumpkins up. Check on getting me a spare tire too. Alright, out. Alright, now we're on the pinion side of the differential. It's been 24 hours, so I'm clear to add fluid, but right here, let me see if I get some light on it. There is the drain plug hole. If you didn't want to take the cover off, but you want to check your fluid, or change your fluid, that's where you would drain it. And this is the fill hole. Now, I've already broke it loose. What you do is you take a 3/8 ratchet head or an extension, and you just stick it in and turn it, and it comes right out like such. And then you can take and put in 3 quarts of fluid. And I'm not going to bore you with all 3 of them going in. This is actually the first one. But anyway, I'll finish filling it. But what you want to do, if you ever want to check it, is you take that plug out right here, and if a little bit of oil dribbles out, or if you can stick your finger in and touch it, then you're good. That's pretty level. If you can't touch it, well, then add some. Alright, we'll finish filling this up, and you'll see it pulling out of the garage. Well, now I guess there's nothing to do but to take it for a test drive. But I tell you what, it is a lot quieter down here. Is my headers leak exhaust. But we'll get around the road. I'm going to pull Clampy the Ram Charger in here to get it thawed out a little bit. And I got to run some movies back to the red box in town anyway. Alright, next time I see you, I'll be on the road. Well, it's out of the road. First test drive since Snowpocalypse, and I got my new rear end oils. Everything seems to be going well. I have to go to town anyway, return a few movies. It's definitely a lot quieter in here, especially now that I fixed those exhaust leaks where I go tick 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 tick. Still gotta check engine light, but I think that is mostly due to the fact that it had an exhaust leak for so long that the oxygen sensors weren't getting the right signals. And it takes for a Chevy Silverado 6 starts to clear an engine code, unless you clear it prematurely. But yeah, we're not going too fast. It'll be a nice little leisurely journey. We'll just have to keep an eye out for any leaks, and we'll call this repair DUNN done.